Welcome to PA History to Go, a series of videos presented by the Pennsylvania Historical Museum Commission with funding from the Institute of Museum and Library Services. These short videos, filmed at locations along the Pennsylvania Trails of History, serve to introduce virtual visitors to our sites as we explore the varied stories that make up Pennsylvania's rich history. Watch them all to learn about the people, places, industries, and events that make Pennsylvania so special.
Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears while we all sup sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more.
Well, the majority of the people that had come to the Anthracite region, with the immigration that came here, there was a high demand for labor. So consequently, quite a few people came because it was an opportunity for them with their families.
In a sense, when we say Eckley was a planned community, the plan seems to have been based on your abilities and based upon your wages. We're going to put you in a house according to your status. The less money you made, the lower the quality of the housing was that you lived in. The slate picker's house would represent absolutely the bottom economic level here in town. Possibly they would move out of a house like the slate picker's house and into half double.
So the company provided 3 structures for the workers: the houses, the summer kitchens, and the outhouses. The miners that lived here would have built walls and roofs to connect the summer kitchens to the houses that provided extra living space for them.
Yeah, the houses were described as a 2 up, 2 down. There was 2 rooms downstairs and 2 rooms upstairs. They were relatively small for the amount of people who actually lived here. Families were large and you were expected to take in boarders, and you could have as many as possibly 21 people living in a house like this.
We are at the company store, and this was the hub of the coal mining town or village. And in here they had different products such as clothing, picks, axes, shovels. They also had equipment for the house itself. You could actually buy stuff here on credit. And this was the major, or one of the major hubs here in the village or coal mining town.
So often it was difficult for the miner because their rent all came out of their pay. They had to pay for their carbide, they had to pay for their tools, they had to pay for their dynamite. Everything was taken out of your pay, and a lot of times men had nothing left. They would get a paycheck and it'd have a squiggly line on it called a snake. In other words, he owed to the company store. Religion was very important. Not only was it important to worship God in their own way, but it also acted as a cultural center. One of the things about the church is that we look around the church, you find that everything is rather plain and nondescript. Again, it shows the poverty of the Irish people.
This church is more ornate. There's a lot more woodwork in here. The windows are a little bit more detailed. And that's because the people that worshiped here, they spent a little bit more of their money in here than the miners would have had. So the mine owners and the company would have paid for the church.
Music was so important, and especially singing throughout the patchtown, but singing in the mines, which surprised me. Many of the men made songs for every circumstance that happened. And even when the men were down in the mines and they had extra time waiting for the cars, if their car was loaded and taken out, they would sing.
And the man would be underground for the entire day. When he would come home, he would be the only one who would take a bath every day. The rest of the family would take a bath once a week. Everybody would take a bath in the same water, but at least you were clean to go to church on Sunday. The men came together in the mines because out of necessity. It was hard work, it was dirty work, it was dangerous work.
The roles of women beyond roles as mothers or wives. So what were they doing, in their homes in these northeastern Pennsylvania patch towns? They actually fulfilled a number of really important roles that enabled these companies in these communities to succeed in the long term. So when you're talking about women as managers, what does that mean? Well, they're managing their homes, right? So the women are the ones who are making decisions about whether their children can stay in school or whether their children need to get a job in a breaker or in a textile mill. But women are also managing the home economy. So they're making purchasing decisions. They are deciding whether the household should keep boarders. In women's roles as ministers, their job was to make sure that everyone in the home made it into heaven, making sure that everyone is going to church, that everyone is participating in the religious life of their community. One of the things that has been really striking are the ways that women really tried to be the best mothers that they could. They were reading literature about how to be mothers, and especially with the idea of scientific motherhood. You know, what medicines should you give to your children, but also blending that with some folk wisdom and kind of ethnic traditions in terms of how to raise kids in the best way possible. Even though they have these incredibly taxing and sometimes isolating roles, they're still trying to be themselves and be true to themselves and exhibit the type of femininity that they feel that they are.